Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week is going to be, actually this month, sorry, is going to be a little less structured here on my channel. I usually try to upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but the days that I upload might be off this month. I'll try to stick to it as best as I can. But obviously with the holidays coming up, you guys, spending time with family and just it being a really busy month, it may not be as structured in terms of my upload. So just wanted to start with that. Definitely subscribe and make sure my notification bell is on. That way you know when I do upload. I'll usually post it on my Instagram anyway. For those following me, if you're not following me there, my username is Forex Tips 101. So that is it for that stuff today. As you can see by the title, we're going to look at a top-down approach or top-down analysis, whatever you want to call it. You guys, for me, this is something, it's like one of those things that I just really simplify this, and I don't really even call it top-down analysis or top-down approach when I'm doing it. I just do it because it's what makes sense. And you're going to see what I mean when we start getting into this. So I'm going to try to zoom you guys in. We're on the weekly chart right now. We're looking at GU. Just pulled up a random pair, okay? And basically what a top-down approach is, it's when we start by looking at like the higher time frames in order to understand overall structure, so that when we go to the more recent time frames, things make more sense, okay? And we're following bigger trends and zones that are more highly respected because they're happening over a longer period of time. So that's in a nutshell what it is. And it's very, very simple. So I am a swing trader, okay? So I start on the weekly time frame. I don't often go to the monthly. Weekly is enough for me to get an overall idea of where we're going. And without having to plot a trend line or anything like that, there's a couple main things that I want to take note of here on this chart, okay? One being that if you were to draw a line, you can see that we have been trending down, okay, for several months. So we've been overall trending down, okay? What does that infer? And obviously this is not placed right, guys. So if you want to, I'm not going to be like properly placing trend lines and spending a whole lot of time on that. I just want to kind of give you the analysis of this approach, okay? What that means is that looking for sells, okay, will be much easier. How do I put this? Price is going to respect this trend line, okay? There's a high probability that price is going to respect that trend line. So overall, sells would be, I want to say they'll give you more high probability trades, okay? That does not mean, though, that you cannot enter buys. Definitely not, because remember that this is the long-term trend, right? And as day traders and swing traders, we can definitely enter buys, okay, and make really good returns on them. But it's going to be easier for you to spot sells because that's what the market is going to want to do, okay? So that definitely doesn't mean, though, that when price is trending up really strongly, okay, that you want to start looking for sells all over the place. Definitely not. Like, don't do that. What I'm saying is when we do see a downtrend within this bigger trend, so this would be the bigger trend, okay, this downtrend here. When we do see a downtrend within that, these sells are going to be more high probability trades because price is wanting to go back down because we're overall trending up, okay? So that's all I mean by that. You can still look for your buys. There's no issue with that. As long as you're following your trading plan and you're using good risk reward, that's totally fine. Now, some traders will only take sells in a market like this, okay? And that is just up to you. You're going to get a lot less entry opportunity doing that because, again, we don't want to just be taking sells anywhere within here. Like we still need to look for those good opportunities to take them. And don't take this as a trade because I haven't even looked at the confirmation there. But yeah, you guys get what I'm saying. So just sells are going to be more high probability, but there will be less entry for them. So you can still take buys. You just need to make sure you're using confirmation. The next step to our top-down approach, I can't speak, will be going down to the daily for me, okay? Because again, I'm a swing trader and I do day trade as well, a lot more lately with the FTMO stuff I have going on. So the next I'll look at the daily and I'll say, okay, what's my trend on the daily? If we zoom out, and I know you guys are going to have a hard time seeing, if we zoom out, we can still see that downtrend happening, right? Like let's just draw a line in really quick. I'll actually use the arrow this time. So we can see that we have been trending down. Technically here, structure's being broken. I have a whole video on that. But if we went to the higher time frame, we'd see that it definitely hasn't. Okay, and that's another reason. So I guess we could consider that our second reason that we use a top-down approach. So let's do this again. So right here, let's draw this quick trend line in here. Just connecting those two tops here. It looks as if structure has been broken on our trend line. But if we go to our weekly, we can see that this is just improperly placed, okay? And that structure has definitely not been broken yet, all right? I know it's hard to see when I'm this far zoomed out, but you guys see what I mean, right? So touching these two tops, we can see price hasn't even come back up to that trend line. So it has not been broken. We're still trending down. And that's on our weekly again. So when you start with your higher time frame to plot your trend lines and your zones, you will see all of these things. And that's the really, really important part of it. Sorry, I'm going to go back to the weekly for 1 second because there's something else I wanted to note. I am a zone to zone trader. So on the weekly chart, and I'm going to zoom us in again, I would draw in a few zones on my weekly. Okay. So I would do one above and one below price. Usually that's enough for me. And then I'll change, and I'm just drawing this in super duper quick. This is not a perfect zone. I'll also change the style. I would make it like a different color, or I would come in here and I would label it weekly zone. Okay. So now that's done, so that when we go to our daily time frame, we can see how close price is to that level. Because as we know, and I've said this to you guys a million times, when it comes to zones, when it comes to, most technical analysis, candlestick analysis and stuff like that, your higher time frames are going to be more reliable. Now, this is definitely not the best placement for my zone. I didn't double check it, but we're just going to use this as an example. Should price come up to this area, okay, and show rejection, it would be a far more high probability trade, okay, or a higher probability that we'll see rejection, because it's going to want to, our weekly levels are a little bit more reliable, okay? And then we're going to go down to our 4-hour chart. So that's usually where I'll stop. And then, of course, I will use the lower time frames like 15-minute, 5-minute, 3-minute to look for confirmation. So to look at what price is doing when I enter a trade. But for the analysis portion, 4 hours is as low as I go. Okay. And people ask me why. The reason is, guys, because most other traders use this too. So it's kind of, it's just self-fulfilling prophecy. It works out that way. Everyone's looking at the same area, so they're respected, right? It does make sense when you think of it. And so on the 4-hour, we can actually see that we've had an upward shift. Okay. So we're definitely, you can just see this whole area here. Since this lower zone, we have been trending up, which tells us that what we're looking for here is going to be opposing our current trend. Okay. So you need a lot of confirmation in order to enter. And looking back at our daily and our weekly, right? Let's just draw our trend in again. I just want to have and again, we want to include as many wicks as possible when we're placing our trend, which actually, to me, you guys, I'll be honest with you, on our weekly, okay, this is probably our best placement for our trend line would be trying to connect these guys here. And again, I do like to use zones in terms of trends as well. So what we can see is that price actually has broken structure on the weekly. Okay. I know I said I think when we briefly looked back at it, I said no, structure hasn't been broken. Technically, if you're drawing a perfect trend line, structure is being broken. So we might be seeing a strong reversal up, which would just simply tell me that, and this is why we do this, guys. So we can see structure's been broken. All that means is that price has kind of left that area. The other trend placement you could do is here. And I would have to really sit down and look at this and count my wicks and stuff like that. So I'm not going to really spend a whole lot of time. I think it would actually be this one. I think this is just some slippage. And now we're seeing a solid break of the trend line. So because the trend line has been broken right here, okay, I would definitely consider that a break. Then when we go down to our lower time frame, I'd probably, I would only be looking for buys here. You can see this is where structure was broken. So I would start looking for buys. Okay. So I would not look for a major rejection here. And that's what you learn doing top-down analysis. That's the beauty of it, you guys. So first of all, you learn which zones are going to be more highly respected. That's going to really help you in your analysis. And the second thing is that you're going to see overall market structure that price respects really well. You're going to see when market structure is broken and be able to use that to your advantage. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it for now. So in this case, yes, structure was broken. You could start looking for buys. And because of our momentum that we're seeing here, definitely taking buys with this momentum is going to be your best bet. So I don't think I'd be looking for a major rejection here. Okay. And that is, and I think I just did a video on GEO on Monday as well, if you want to have a look at that. That is everything, you guys, for this video. I will see you hopefully on Monday. I'll have our next video up. I'm going to try to do weekly analysis again. And I think that's it. If you have any questions about that, that's how I do my top-down approach. It's very, very simple. You're really, in essence, just starting from the higher time frames, looking at your structure, looking at your trend lines, looking at your zones, and then narrowing in on them to see where to spot entry on the lower time frames. Okay. So that's it. If you want elaboration on this, if you want to actually see me take a trade doing this or something like that, just let me know in the comments below. I kind of do a more general video to start. And then if you want more, I'll definitely upload more of it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.